If I had to pick a single idea that will most change how you work with AI, it would be this one. The model's output is a function of its context. If you control the context, you control the output. Most people don't. That's why their results feel inconsistent and shallow. Let's define context precisely. Context is the entire body of text the model sees when it generates a response. Your current message, the previous turns of the conversation, the system prompt, any documents you've attached, any tool outputs, all of it. The model reels all of that and predicts what comes next. Context has a size limit called the context window, measured in tokens. A token is roughly 3/4 of a word. Modern frontier models have very large windows, hundreds of thousands of tokens, sometimes millions. What sounds infinite, it isn't. And size isn't the only thing that matters. The shape of what's in the window matters more. There are 3 failure modes to watch for. First, missing context. The model doesn't know something it needs to know, so it guesses, plausibly and confidently. This is the most common failure. The fix is almost always paste in more of the relevant material, the doc, the brief, the data, the previous decisions. The model isn't telepathic. If it isn't in the window, it doesn't exist. Second, too much context. You dump everything in and the model gets distracted, picks up irrelevant details, weights them equally with important ones, and gives you a muddled answer. Long context windows have made this worse, not better. More room means more temptation to overstuff. The fix is curation. Include what's relevant, cut what isn't. Third, badly structured context. You include the right material, but the model has to dig for it. The fix here is to put the important stuff at the top or the bottom. Models pay disproportionate attention to the beginning and the end of their context. The middle is where information goes to be ignored. There's actual research on this, so use it. Let me show you the difference. I have a 40-page product spec. I'm going to ask the same questions 3 times. First, with no document attached, just the question. The model invents an answer that sounds reasonable and is completely wrong. Second, I dump in the entire 40 pages and ask again. The answer is better, but it's mushy, hedged, and a bit off. Third, I extract 2 pages that actually contains the answer, paste them in cleanly and ask sharp, correct, fast, same model, same question, 3 complete different results driven entirely by what's in the window. Practical patterns to use immediately. When you start a serious task, treat assembling the context as a real step, not an afterthought. Spend the minute it takes to gather the right material, pays back in 10 times over. For recurring tasks, build a context template, reusable structure where you slot in the changing pieces. Engineers do this with prompt files. PMs can do it in Notion doc. When the model gets something wrong, before you blame the model, ask, did it have what it needed? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And for long conversations, remember that everything you said earlier is still in the window, still influencing the model. If a chat has gone in a direction you don't want, start a new one. Trying to course correct mid-conversation is harder than you just resetting. This is a skill that separates people who get reliable results from AI and people who get a slot machine. The model is doing the same thing every time. You are the variable.